Okay, so hello and welcome to the Soul Force equation. So I missed last week, so this is the 15th of the webinar series, although I think it's going to be week 16 altogether. So the Soul Force equation. So this isn't something airy-fairy that I've made up. For those of you that are not very spiritual or into the soul, and for those of you are, I'm sorry, this is not about some deep-rooted spiritual thing. This is about basically the it is about the innermost core that is driving yourself. You'll see. Hopefully, whatever your beliefs, you're going to get something out of this very valuable. So the aim of these series, just to quickly recap, if this is the first one you've seen, is to allow you to go from goal setting, because I started at the beginning of the year with all the New Year's resolutions or revolutions, to goal getting, helping you stay inspired throughout the entire year, and also trying to help inspire you really stick with and understand how important self-health responsibility is, not just for your own health, but for your own state of peace. And as you become more peaceful, it's going to help spread harmony in the home, and harmony in the home will lead to more harmony in the neighborhood and your city or your town or your county or your country, and spread to the world. I'm going to do more about that if you don't already know about that in the future. So a little bit about me: author, speaker, self-peace activist, self-health responsibility champion, and yes, in the Guinness Book of Records too. But today is week 15, the Soul Force equation. E times F times WIN to the power of C. That's what that strange little up thing, to the power of. Now, most people today are measuring their health against everybody else. And most people are measuring their healthy diets against the healthy diets of everybody else. But most people will die, I'm sorry to break this to you, of a preventable disease, because most people die of heart disease, which is nearly all preventable. 60% of cancers at least are preventable. Diabetes, obesity, even a lot of dementia is probably completely preventable if you do the right things. But unfortunately, medical doctors are not trained in diet and lifestyle. They're only trained in drugs, which they can only give you once you're sick. However, it's your choice as to whether you make a different choice now or whether you wait to make a different choice later when you may be forced to. In fact, you may already be forced to, so that's why you're here. Today, we are going to cover energy, focus, win, what's important now, and C, consistency. So that's the parts of the Soul Force equation. And the Soul Force equation is a great tool to help you change your thinking. So again, I'm going to keep saying this: if you want to teach people a new way of thinking, don't bother trying to teach them. Instead, give them a tool, the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking. R. Buckminster Fuller. And some of the tools are the Magnificent 7 health strategies that I learned from Dr. Bob Rakowski. Think right, talk right, drink right, eat right, move right, detox right, and sleep right. They lead to optimal health, immunity, high energy, and clear thinking, because that's what protects your body and your brain and your bowel. And I simplified it to the fantastic functional 3, fantastic functional movement, functional nutrition, functional philosophy, also known as functional thought. Another tool is the 10 pillars of mental performance mastery. And then a true tool, the heroic.us app, which you can get for free. I'm going to give, however, there's a paid for version. And if you want 20% off the premium version, then email me, because I have a code and a link that you can use. I just can't share it publicly. So yes, I'll talk to that more at the end. And the Heroic app will basically help you be more energized, more productive, more connected. And it does help you be more consistent, which we'll get back to. There's the Heroic protocol, that's another tool. And then the Soul Force equation. Soul Force equals energy times focus times what's important now to the power of consistency. So, oh yeah, and there you go. And if you do need help, getting all these into place, I am an official heroic coach, among other things. There you go. I knew I didn't increase the size of one part. Energy. So we're going to start by talking about energy and preparing my slides as we speak. So if you want to learn more about actually improving energy, see one of my earlier webinars or call me and we'll have a consultation. But energy, the strength and vitality required for sustained physical or mental activity. And power, this is the other description. Power derived from the utilization of physical or chemical resources, especially to provide light and heat, or to work machines. Now, in the human body, most of our energy comes from chemical resources, although actually movement does actually drive electricity in our body, and actually it does help drive our brain, which is why the spine is so important for feeling fully energized, and movement is so important for feeling energized, even though, of course, you need the right fuel to move in the first place. But you need lots of different nutrients. I've covered it in the Energy Forge webinar for a basic starter. But we're really talking about the strength and vitality required for sustained physical and mental activity. So whatever you want to achieve in life, you need the energy to do it. If you want to have a great relationship, you need the energy to sustain it. If you want to run up a mountain, you need the energy, obviously. If you want to run a business well, you need the energy so you can stay focused for prolonged periods of time. Whatever it is you want to achieve, whether you want to raise money for charity, you need energy. And while time management is spoken about, it's more important perhaps to improve and manage your energy, because if you have high energy, you get more done in less time. This is why everyone from Gandhi to the presidents of the United States of America all tend to exercise. That's why Gandhi always was exercising, walking, and taking care of himself. And many other leaders. And that's why so many of the world's leaders, so many of the best thinkers, so many of the most successful people in the world today, they take the exercise seriously. They put it into their diary to make it consistent. So energy. And if you want more energy, you need to think of all of the magnificent 7, which I've already hinted at as well. And if you want to learn more about energy, give me a call or go back to the webinar. I didn't do this one either. Good Lord. That's what comes from preparation for you. So, focus. Focus is basically the center of interest or activity, depending on what it is that you're actually looking at. And what you focus on or what you measure grows. So for instance, if you are in pain and you focus on the pain, it tends to become a bit more all-consuming than if you focus on areas of your body, which I know is difficult to do when you're in pain. But if you focus on bad and negative, rather than focus on what's good, you tend to become more depressive. If you focus on all the good, you tend to become optimistic, but you tend to be over-optimistic and forget that things can go wrong, and therefore can feel rubbish when things do go wrong, unless you really train yourself well. So focus is key, but it can and often does need to be trained. And focus and awareness is pillar 3 of the mental performance mastery system. Again, I'm an MPM coach. And focus and awareness skill set is about becoming more resilient to distraction, because a lot of people, they can't keep focused because they keep on getting distracted all the time. Now you may think, hey, I've got ADHD, that's why I'm distracted. Well, the thing is most people with ADHD, actually, if you put them in front of something that they can focus on, they almost can't be distracted at all, because it actually should be called attention deficit hyperfocus, because they will switch from hyperfocus to being distracted very, very, very easily. And it's the same with all of us. We can be easily distracted, but there are ways to improve the skill of focus. And focus and awareness about making better decisions, defeating your self-sabotaging behavior, and staying calm under pressure. This comes from sports as well. And so what you want to be able to do is focus your ability to zero in on the task at hand, be clear of what's coming next, And awareness is your ability to recognize when you're getting off track, to refocus back on what you need to do in the first place. And this is one of the things is, yes, there's focus, but there's also the ability to realize when you're off focus and refocus. So if you're someone that's easily distracted, whether you're putting it down to ADHD or whether it's something else, then maybe you need to learn some of the skills from NPM. And we have a number of different tasks that can be placed in front of you. Then win. What's important now? So this is what you should be focusing and actually to do things. Focus, again, think of focusing like a magnifying glass. A magnifying glass will focus the sun's rays to create a point of light to set things on fire. And that's what focus really does. It puts all of your energy into one spot. And one of the things that you need to do is focus on what's important right now. What is the next thing that needs to be done right now, today? Not something that needs to be done tomorrow or the day after or in a month's time. What do you need to do today in order to achieve your big goal, whether it's in 3 months of losing 20 pounds, for instance? If you want to lose 20 pounds in 3 months, what's important now is what you're eating now, whether you're feeling stressed or not now, whether it's your mental attitude or your mental state of being that needs to be changed. You need to be switched back from feeling down and low to being on fire again, so you can actually focus on making better decisions. So once you know what your long-term goal is, you can break it down into smaller chunks to find out what's important now. And so there you go, that is focusing on the one thing every day. And one of the things about the Heroic app is it can help you focus on what's important now and helps you plan your days so you stay on track. And there you go, consistency. Consistency, someone who is consistent always behaves in the same way, has the same attitudes towards people or things, or achieves the same level of success in something. So if you are not getting success in what you want, maybe it's because you're consistent in the wrong things, or maybe you're just simply not consistently doing what needs to be done. For instance, if you want to lose weight, it's about eating healthily more often than not. I mean, eating more healthily every day is the key, and doing the right amount of exercise, not too much exercise. That's one of the big myths of weight loss, is that you really need to exercise lots. It's about not stressing your system at first. You can add exercise in later. Weight loss is more about your food than it is about exercise. Building muscle is both together. And that's where you can actually have, when you completely change what you're focusing on. So for instance, if you're focusing on weight loss and you're getting nowhere, maybe you need to focus on muscle gain, and it's focusing on actually eating lots of the right food so you can build muscle. And when you build muscle, you burn fat and you start looking differently. But that's just refocusing for you on something different. And again, mental performance mastery, consistency comes under motivation and commitment. It's about behaviors, which is routines and habits of excellence. And as I mentioned earlier, putting things into a diary. If you put something into a diary, if you put your one thing in a diary that you need to do, whether it's exercise, going to the shops, preparing a meal, whether it's actually preparing a presentation, doing some marketing, whether it's doing some mental imagery and work on your sports skills, whether it's practicing something, whatever it is, if you block it into the diary, it becomes more consistent, and then eventually it becomes a routine and a habit, like brushing your teeth. You don't need to diarize brushing your teeth because you do it at the beginning and the end of every day. It's got its place. So you can use brushing your teeth as a trigger to do some other routines and habits. So the soul force equation. Now, this is actually a picture that I actually nabbed a screenshot of from a heroic.us talk. So that's why I put that down there. And so let's put this in. So what does the soul force equation actually mean, and where you are? So if you haven't got very much energy, so count things out of 100. So what's your present level of energy? Is it a 1? Is it a 2? Is it a 3? Is it 10? Are you actually focusing on something? What's your level of focus on what you want to achieve? And what is important now? Do you even know? So 100 if you really know what's important now, 1 if you have no idea what's important now. Now let's see, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 to the power of 1 is 1, basically. And so if you're not very consistent and you don't know what things are, then you're not going to have a very high score. You're not going to get anywhere. But let's say your energy is full on. It's 100 out of 100. Okay, your focus is full on. It's 100. You fantastic at focusing. You know exactly what's important now and what you've got to do next. So that's 100. 100 times 100 times 100 is 1 million, as opposed to 1 times 1 times 1, which is just 1. 100 times 100 times 100 is 1 million. However, you may have the energy, you may have the focus, you may know what you need to do, but you don't do it very often. In fact, you don't do it at all. And actually, to the power of 0 is still actually 1. And so you can have all the energy, focus, and know what you need to do. But if you're not doing it, and this is very often the problem, is we live in the information age. We live in the information age. Everybody can actually find out what they need to do. In fact, so many people already know what they need to do, but they're just not doing it. They, for whatever it is, that's whether it's their health, they're just not doing it. Whether it's they want to build a business, they're just not doing it. Because the consistency is not there. And this is why I think C should also stand for coach as well. Because what happens if you do have consistency, 100 times 100 times 100 to the power of 100 is infinite, which of course is rocket ships, spaceships to the moon, which is amazing. So are you someone that is if you're lacking in energy and you need help, okay, but you're consistent, then you need someone to help work on your energy. If it's focus, that's the problem. We have a solution. If it's consistency, we have a solution. If it's finding out what's important now, again, there are ways to be coached to find out what to do and break things down, getting the right help. But one such simple tool is the heroic.us app, basically, for more energy, productivity, engagement. And again, it's been shown to actually work in as little as 30 days, just tapping some stuff and just getting some things worked out. Okay, and there's also a paid for version where you get access to a lot of information and other things. But even if you don't want the premium version, still contact me, because I'll give you the code just in case you want it later, to get 20% off. And you can pay monthly or yearly, I believe. So email me for the code, contact me, and I'll give that code to you. But if you are someone that really wants to get you need help with the heroic protocol, or you need help getting the mental performance working, or you need help getting the Magnificent 7 in place, then reach out. We'll have a chat on the phone. We'll figure out what's going to be the best course of action for you, which particular kind of plan you need, whether you need nutrition consultation, whether you need performance and peak performance, whether you need mental performance mastery, whether you need heroic coaching. I have a number of different plans and coaching platforms to help you. And so you can, if you don't already have my email, you don't have my number, then you can go to beatbloodpressure.com, or you can go to bodyimbalanceuk.com and you can get my details. So that is it. We'll do questions and answers in a minute once I've finished recording. So next time, because it is still Stress Awareness Month at the moment, we are not going to go into more parts of the soul force equation. We're going to go into meditation and mental imagery and what I call mind chemistry, or I'm now calling mind chemistry. So I will just remind you once again, the soul force equation: energy, if you need help with energy, call me. Focus, if you need help with focus, call me. Figuring out what's important now, again, we have a program for that. We have a plan. And consistency, we have a plan to help you. I have a plan. There are my contact details. But as ever, I want you to be super happy, super healthy, and I want you to live a long and prosperous life. So thank you very, very much for watching. I shall stop recording now and we'll get into the chat, etc. Bye for now. See you next week. Stop recording.